Welcome back, folks. I'm Jake ELLENBOGEN. Today we're going to be talking about Ernest Jone, a little bit of an update from Sean McVay. And before we do, just want to let you guys know at any point with these videos, if you don't have access to YouTube in a certain spot, but you only have access to podcasts, you can check out all of these videos in audio format on all of your podcast platforms. Just look up Jake ELLENBOGEN Live and subscribe. Also be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And of course, be sure to follow me on all social media, TikTok, Instagram included, at JKBogan. Let's get into it. So, Ernest Jone, obviously, we know how important he is to this Rams defense. We know how important he is in general. Aaron Donald basically gave him the keys on his way out, saying, "This is your defense now." Well, we're going to find out if it really is his defense now. The reason being is because yesterday, if you've been living under a rock, I will remind you, yesterday, Jeremy Fowler of ESPN came out and said that the Rams had granted, reportedly, according to sources, had granted Ernest Jone and his camp, GM included, to seek a trade. Now, this came out. Many people felt like this was Ernest Jone saying he wanted out. Other people said this is the Rams wanting to get rid of him. This is the agent taking over. And I think we're starting to get a little bit to the bottom of this, but there's still some things that we need to kind of iron out. First off, Ernest Jone did not request a trade. He came out yesterday in a now deleted tweet, and he said, I didn't ask for a trade, right? It wasn't me. So he deletes it. Now, today, the next day, Sean McVay is talking to the media. McVay comes out and says, "We never said Ernest Jone asked for a trade." So that's interesting. Then Sean McVay also mentions how a few teams have been in contact with them about Ernest Jone. And the Rams, we all know they've been trying to come down to a deal. They don't pay linebackers in the past. I mean, we could talk about it. London Fletcher, Corey Littleton, Roman Pfeiffer. They've let linebackers go, right? I mean, it's very fair to say. Alec Ogletree, they paid him, and then they traded him after a year. So this is not a position the organization normally pays. However, I thought Ernest Jone would be a little bit different, and I think a lot of fans did, and they felt like the Rams would come down and get a deal done and make him the man in the middle. Now, Ernest Jone and the Rams have been trying to work out a deal, and there's been no sort of progress, right? I mean, essentially, no progress in a deal eventually could lead to a trade, could lead to just losing the player altogether. We've seen it. Brandon Ayuk with the 49ers, potentially Trent Williams, who is fine sitting out week 1 of the season if he doesn't get a deal. And this is business. It's not meant to be personal. It's business. But I want to make this clear because I think now we know from this update, Ernest Jone is not pushing for a trade. And he said he was totally fine playing out the rest of the year without a contract. Totally fine with it. As he probably should be, if I'm being honest, but he's fine with it. He'll do it. The Rams seem to be in this boat where they really want him, but if they also are seeing that he's not going to be around for a long time and this is his last year, it might make sense to find, and maybe they're not even reaching out. Maybe they're just seeing interest from other teams and they're like, maybe we should consider trading him. But the thing I'll say is this. We don't know for sure. What we do know is that the Rams have had contact with teams. I can name one of those teams is the Atlanta Falcons. I've been told that the Falcons are interested in him. That's the only team I was told on. Now, it makes sense because you have Raheem Morris, who's now the head coach there, and he was the defensive coordinator for Ernest Jone in the middle of the defense last year, okay? And obviously other years. So there's definitely going to be some connections there. Ejiro Evero, who was, of course, with the Rams, he has kind of a similar defensive philosophy. He's with the Panthers. He is the defensive coordinator there. I could see him going there. I could see him going to the Patriots. Defensive-minded former linebacker and linebacker coach Gerard Mayo could be interested in him to be a part of this Patriots defense. You could see the Texans and D'Amico Ryans being interested in adding him to a Texans defense. You could see a lot of different teams because Ernest Jones is not a player that normally becomes available this late in the offseason, basically going into the NFL season. There are no more preseason games left. So this is literally it right before the season starts. You have 2 weeks. So this is definitely a surprise. I would say he's very valuable. I wouldn't just, throw Ernest Jones away. But I'll say this. I would not be against trading Ernest Jones if Ernest Jones was saying, I don't want to play for you under a contract without a contract. If that was the case, by all means, you do what you have to do, okay? But I also want to say this. There's nothing wrong with taking calls, hearing out what people have to offer. And if someone offers you something that you can't pass up, I get that. But don't be shopping Ernest Jones, okay? He is guaranteeing at least a 4th-round compensatory pick, maybe even a 3rd for the Rams when he is signed this offseason, if, of course, the Rams have his rights going into, free agency. If they do, and he remains a Ram until free agency, they can get his compensatory pick. If they don't, they could trade him somewhere, and they don't get anything. They only get what has come from the trade. Now, I want to make this, clear. I think if you trade Ernest Jones and you get equal or closer to equal value, that's fine, but I think that has to be a player. Okay, I can't stress that enough. You have to get a player out of this. I like the linebackers. Just because I like Omar Speights, Jake Hummel, just because I like Troy Reeder, just because I like Christian Roseboom, doesn't mean I'm confident with them going into a Super Bowl potential season as the guys. I think if you look at anybody there, I would probably start Jake Hummel and Omar Speights day one, but they sat Christian Roseboom and they sat Troy Reeder. So those guys could very well end up being your 2 starters. I understand people will push back and say Troy Reeder and Travin Howard were the starters in the Super Bowl, and you can win a Super Bowl with bad inside linebackers. That may be true, but we don't know about this defense. We don't know, what the deal is with Chris Shula's defense. He's got bits and pieces of Wade Phillips in him. He's got bits and pieces of a Brandon Staley and, of course, Raheem Morris. So his defense might be different. They might need linebackers more than they have in the past. So that is the intriguing thing here. Where does this go from here? Personally, I think if you trade him, you have to get somebody that is going to start and make an impact. I'm going to have a separate video because I think it's fascinating. I understand people don't love hypotheticals, but I just want to put it out there in the ether just in case, this trade is made and you have no idea who these players are. I want to list some teams. I want to list some potential trades in a separate video if they went through with this, because it looks like it's very possible they will. I want to just kind of put it out there like, hey, this might be the direction they're going in, and this is who they could get out of this. Because right now, draft picks are not going to get anybody excited. And there was a lot of excitement going into the Rams season. There still is. But this has put a damper in things. So I wanted to do a video on this real quick about Ernest Jones and the update. We'll see what ends up happening. I just need you guys to know that, no, I am not necessarily okay with losing a player like this at all, okay? And I don't think, people should be. Now, I understand a lot of people in the comment section mention his knee injury. Maybe that's something more and they're being, cautious and quiet about it. But I don't really think that's it. I don't necessarily think it's the knee. I think there's more to it than that. So we're going to find out soon. But that's all I got for you guys. If you guys have somebody in mind that you want the Rams to potentially trade Ernest Jones for, understanding that he could likely get traded, then definitely drop that in the comment section below. But that's going to do it. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Be sure to follow me on all social media. Check out the memberships. If you want to, be a priority member, you can do that. Priority member, of course, I mean by that is priority call-in. So if you want to call in during the season, you're worried that it's going to be really packed and it's going to be hard to get in the call-ins. Priority call-ins are available in the membership. You can just hit join below this video below. And also, you can check out this on all your podcast platforms. Jake Ellenbogen Live. Search that wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe, and you'll never miss another episode, whether it's via YouTube or it's via audio. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys take care. Later, folks. Do you love talking about the Rams, the NFL, or just want to be a part of a community? Join my free Discord server today. We're over 800 members. We got 24/7 live chat, a level 3 boosted server, the ability to call into JE Live, playing online games with us on Kick streams, toggleable alerts for when I go live on YouTube or Kick so you don't miss a live stream, and exclusive giveaways. Click the link in the description, the comments section, or the link that comes up in the video to learn more and join today.